Hi, as you know, I'm Kaylin, and today we're going to be covering the Quick Start Guide to the web interface. So we're going to be learning how to actually set up this web interface that you can access that, and then also set up the users that may access that web interface and who they may and may not see using the hierarchy that we've got in the software. So first things first, we need to obviously set up this web interface so that we can access it. That gets done in the configuration module. So once you've actually opened that configuration module, you need to go to your server options, and then you need to scroll down to the web server section. Now in the section you need to enter the IP address as it will be seen from the remote workstation. So that would typically, let's say you've got your data set, like in my case it's on my computer, the IP address of the TNA server would be then that IP address of that computer, which in my case is obviously my computer. So I'm going to put that in 168.2.40, and then also you need to activate the web server port and enter that information in there. Now you need to make sure that the port that you've put in here is not being blocked by any firewalls or anything like that. For me, I know that 8080 is open, so I'm going to use that. You can also use 9000. Just make sure that that port is not blocked. Okay, so we're going to leave it that the sessions do not time out. I'm not going to set anything else in terms of the monitoring port and all that stuff. You leave that all as default and you click on OK. So now you basically got that settings in for your web interface. You need to ensure that the server module is open in order for you to be able to access the web interface, because obviously the web server needs to run there as well. The next thing that we obviously need to do is to set up, I'm going to just open up my server module in the meantime. The next thing we obviously need to do is to set up users that may actually access the web interface and whether they are a web administrator or not. That now again gets done in your TNA user module. So if we move over to the user module, you would click on your browse employee window and then select whichever employees you need to give access to that web interface for. In my case, I'm obviously going to set my own user up. We're going to click on change to edit that employee's details, and then once again on the web section you would then fill in whether this is a web administrator. You would tick that, fill in the web login and the password. Now I've obviously already got that in there and I've been set as a web administrator, so I can access security settings, etc., in that web interface then. The other thing then, we've given me access to that web interface, but the other thing that we need to do is we can set up who I may and may not see. Now, in order for you to use the hierarchy system, which basically says, okay, I am supervised by this employee, which means that he can see me, or then the second section is who I'm allowed to supervise and see in the web interface. Now, in order for this to work, you need to have that enabled in the configuration module. So I'm going to just jump back to the configuration module. You need to check under your system features, your bells and whistles, and then also go to the web section where you would then set up whether you're using hierarchy systems or then filter groups to determine who you may and may not see in the web interface. You can also then set whether that password expires in 30 days or if the daily hours are approved by default or if they are on pending, when it's added, etc. Just while we are in this features, the other thing that you can also set for the web interface is your leave emails. So you can set up if any leave has been added, or applied for leave, etc., that can actually be emailed to you. You can also include supervisor comments and how much the leave is that that employee has got left. I'm going to switch that off for now. All I'm worried about now is that I'm going to be using the hierarchy system there. And then we move over to the user module again. Now, once again, under this hierarchy section, you can set who will be supervising this employee that you are editing. So let's say, for argument's sake, I am going to add Melanie is going to be the person that supervises me, which means that if she had to log into the web interface, providing she's got a login details, she can see me because she can supervise me. And then you can also go and set who I am allowed to see when I log in. You can either, if it's a case of you seeing everybody, you can just dump everybody over, or if there is only a certain, employees that employee may see, you can simply, move them over accordingly. Okay, so I'm going to give access to everybody so that I can see everybody. We've set up our hierarchy, we've set up our user. We then click on OK, and it sets all the information we need for the web interface. So then obviously now to access the web interface again, you would then need to go into your web browser, and that IP address that you had typed in under your web server, that is the one that you're going to use to obviously access that. In my case, we've got then that. I have accessed it before. We can click on that and it'll immediately bring up your login screen. Now that login that you have created, given to that employee, you can type in, just put that in, and we can log in. And that'll then give me access to the web interface. If we go to employees, we will see that I can see everybody. Had I been using hierarchy system and not actually set that up and added, the employees that I supervise, I would not be able to see anybody here. So if it so happens that you have put in a username and password and you log in, everything, you at least get in, but you're not seeing anybody here, any information, just go and make sure that you have set up that hierarchy system correctly, or if you choose not to use it, that it is at least, unticked, etc., etc. And that's basically setting up your web interface. Obviously from here then in the previous video when we done a bit of an overview, I showed you where you can find what. It's pretty straightforward in terms of, if you want to go and access clockings for argument's sake and you want to go and add one, you simply click on insert and you can fill in that information that is needed there. So it's pretty self-explanatory, when you're going through these. Once again, just to highlight this top tab there that you would see, or little block here, would be that you are viewing, for everybody. It's browsing all the employees, whereas specifically if you've selected an employee here, you'll see at the second block, all information in that block would pertain to that employee that has been selected, so you can access that then. You can also set your password here again. There's some other tasks that you can do, reprocessing, etc. And then because I am a web administrator, I can set security user groups and set the menu access, etc., etc. So that's a quick start guide to the web interface. Once you've at least set that up and can log in with your user, you can mess around a little bit more and get to know the web interface. I hope you enjoyed this training session and that you will join me next time. Goodbye.